Hello, thank you, Winnie. That was the long version of my bio, I think. Really, I'm just another business owner trying to help other business owners. I'm excited to be here today with you guys. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so I'm excited to engage, answer your questions, have conversation. So please, even as I'm going through the presentation, you can, raise your hand. I'll answer your question on the spot, or you can put something in the chat, and we'll take them as they come. We're going to talk about how to keep them coming back, I think is a really cool title that Winnie gave this session. But basically, we're talking about mastering customer retention. So let me share my screen and we'll jump right in. Interview. So here, screen two. Okay. Winnie, are we good? Can you see my screen?
Yes, please, we're good.
Okay. All right, guys. Let's jump in. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? We're going to start by talking about why retention matters. Why is it important that you're here and then listening during this session and paying attention, hopefully. We're going to talk about identifying who's that ideal repeat customer, some pitfalls to avoid when it comes to retention, the strategies that will help you keep them coming back, keep those customers retained. Look at a couple of case studies, talk a little bit about measuring retention so that we can know if we're improving it or not, and some takeaways and Q&A at the end. Okay, so we will do Q&A at the end, but like I said, feel free to drop your questions in the chat as we're going along, or raise your hand and we will we will take them. Okay. All right. So why does retention matter, and why does it matter now more than ever? Um, let me first start with a question. If you've paid attention to the title of this session, you could probably guess the answer. But what is the number one metric that separates the top 1% of companies, the top 1% performing companies, from the rest of the companies that are in the other bottom 99%? What do you guys think it is? What's that one thing that separates them? You can put it in the chat or raise your hand. Any ideas? Now, don't be shy. The number one thing that separates the most performing companies, returning customers. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes. Retention. It is the number one thing that separates the top 1% of companies from every other company in the world. Okay. And we're going to talk a little bit about why that is. The first is that the cost of acquisition is much higher than the cost to retain a customer. So once you've acquired them, once they've bought from you that first time, once you've started to build a relationship with them, it is much less costly to retain them as a customer than it is to go and acquire another customer, right? On a sort of a global scale, the statistic is it costs 5 to 7 times more to acquire a new customer than it does to retain an existing customer, someone who's already bought from you, right? But the reality is, in our context, in Nigeria, Ghana, and West Africa, even the continent as a whole, it's actually more than that, right? It actually costs 10 times more to acquire a new customer than it does to retain an existing customer. And that's, because of some of the realities of the markets that we're doing business in, right? There's a little bit of a lower digital savviness. It takes more time and more money to build a brand in our markets, right? And there tends to be a little bit of a lower conversion on digital ads and digital marketing, right? So those are some of the reasons why it is much even more costly than the average on a global scale in our markets. But if we can get this right, the statistic is that even just a 10% increase in your retention can boost your profits by 25 to 95%, right? So if you can get just an incremental, just a little bit of an improvement on your retention, you should see that reflect in your profits and in your sales. It's a very, very important topic. Um, why is retention so important and in our markets, right? In our context. The first is that we tend to have a bit of a low level of trust, right? I know me, if I'm buying from a business for the first time, I'm a little skeptical, right? Okay, I've never done this before. I'm not sure if I trust them too much, right? There tends to be, and that tends to be common across our markets, in Ghana and in Nigeria and other West African markets, especially if it's the first time that a customer is buying for you, the trust level is low, right? So you have to really work to build that trust. The second is that there's high level of competition, right? Especially in certain industries, you have a really tough competition. A lot of businesses trying to provide the same product or service or a similar product or service. And in our markets, there's high what we call customer fluidity, right? And basically what that means is there's lower brand loyalty, right? In some markets, if uh, their mom or their dad bought a certain brand of toothpaste, they're probably going to buy that toothpaste and they're going to buy it for the rest of their lives, right? And they will never change, right? But still in many of our markets, price is very, very important, and customers tend to kind of switch from one brand to the next often, right? So those are some of the things that we need to look out for, and why retention is more important than ever, especially in the markets where we're doing business. Okay. Let's see, any questions? Any hands raised yet? Right, let's keep going. So, what's the first thing you should do then? If this is the case, if this is so important, what's the first thing you should do? You've got to identify your ideal repeat customer, right? So not just your ideal customer, but your ideal repeat customer, the customers that are going to continue to come back, right? And how do you do that? Well, you start by looking at your existing customers and asking some questions, right? Who comes back the most often? Who spends the most? uh, who spends the most on your products or services over time, right? Who is the one that's referring your product or service to other businesses, um, or even who is the easiest to serve, right? The sort of those low maintenance customers. We all know we have some high maintenance customers, right? But the low maintenance customers, easiest to serve, fewest issues. They come, they know they love their product. You have a relationship with them. They buy. These are some of the questions that you can ask of your existing customers to try to zone in on what is that ideal repeat customer. Yeah. After you've asked those questions, then it's important to sort of group, the customers, spot the patterns that you might see, things like, demographics, age, gender, location, income or education level, their buying habits, how often do they buy, what day of the week do they buy? What are your particular products or services that they love or they keep buying on a frequent basis, right? So identify those things, and then you create a very simple uh, business, a very simple customer profile, right? So I've got an example here, right? Maybe for a tailor in Lagos, they've said, okay, my ideal repeat customer is a 30 to 45-year-old working woman in Lekki who regularly attends weddings and events and prefers custom lace styles and communicates over WhatsApp, right? So that's the ideal that for this particular tailor business, that is an example of their ideal repeat customer, right? So maybe they've asked those questions, they've spotted the patterns, and they've seen that, okay, this ideal customer, 30 to 45-year-old working woman from Lekki, comes back and buys, repeats again and again and again, right? So once you've done that, you want to zone in on serving those type of customers. How can I acquire more of those type of customers? How can I keep them happy? Right. And one really, really important way to do this and to think about as you're compiling your ideal repeat customer profile, um, the role of word of mouth, right? And very, very important in our markets. Business is very, very social, right? It's not as transactional in some other places in the world. And so word of mouth, what your prospect or what your customer hears about you from their friends or family or network, it matters a lot, right? And that social proof that they see, maybe if they see I don't know, someone in their community that they really respect also using your product or also patronizing your service, that's going to go a long way, right? Or if in the case of a recently filmed podcast episode that we haven't released yet, there was a customer in Nigeria who had Don Jay-Z um, message something about her products on social media, and all of a sudden she got all this business, right? So things like that matter. If you can, you have these influential members of the community to help you, or just even in local friends, family, church networks, right? If they're saying good things, it's really, really important. So what you want to understand is that ideal repeat customer, how can you tap into or leverage their local word of mouth social proof networks? Right? So that's a very, very important thing to consider. All right, so step one, create your ideal repeat customer profile. Yeah. Any questions? Okay. All right. So things to avoid, right, when it comes to retention. Inconsistent service or product quality, right? Maybe a customer walks into your shop one day and has a great experience, but the next day your shop manager is not feeling too good or they're in a bad mood and they don't get great service, right? That inconsistency really messes with retention, right? It makes a customer less likely to come back. Or if they have a really tasty meal at your restaurant one day and then the next day just doesn't it's not as good, right? And maybe I don't know, there's something off with the ingredients or whatever. That really hurts retention, product quality. Limited digital engagement or follow-up. Um, we need to stay top of mind with our customers today, right? So as much as you can, are they seeing you on WhatsApp? Are they seeing you on the social media platforms? Are you following up with them after a purchase? You know, are you sending them a message to say, I hope everything's going well with the product I just supplied you? Um, Sometimes we can be a little bit over reliant on in-person sales, right? It takes more effort for someone to come somewhere, come to you, right? And buy. It takes more effort for the customer, right? For them to come into a shop and buy. So if you can make it easier for customers to buy, whether that's through online shopping or, selling at the trade fair that they're attending, right? Or, make it easy to buy. Yeah. Poor customer data tracking. I think, businesses really struggle with this one because it's an extra thing that you need to do, right? To capture the phone number of everyone who buys from you or to capture the email address, right? Or if you're using Oze it's an extra thing you need to do to record the customer name and their phone number when you're recording a transaction. All right. But if you have that data, you can do things with it, right? And you can analyze your customer base and you can get insights. So it's important to spend the time to track that customer data. Um, the last one, it's a little bit, it's a little bit about what we were talking about earlier in terms of brand loyalty. Sometimes, depending on the type of product that you have, especially if it's more of a commodity, there's not too many differences between your product and other people's products. You can get into these like price wars, and that can hurt retention, right? Where um, the price of your product has changed and the price of another product hasn't changed yet, and you guys are flip-flopping and trying to beat each other, and so that's another thing that can really hurt retention. Yeah, and if anyone has anything to add too, if there's another thing that you have in mind that can hurt retention, feel free to put that in the chat or raise your hand as well. We want to share our knowledge with each other here, guys. All right, so this is here's the important part, right? These are the strategies that will keep customers coming back, will keep them coming back. Um, so it's related to the first pitfall that we talked about, right? It's deliver consistency, deliver consistently. So whether it's a product or a service that you offer, how can you maintain quality, right? And reliability that, if it's for example, Oze as a software product, reliability is really important. And the app needs to work 99.9% of the time. right? So we try really hard to do that, right? A good example of maintaining quality, I think, is well, like a fast food restaurant, right? Like a Burger King, right? Those or a McDonald's, those businesses have grown so big because they maintain a consistent level of quality product. Now, I mean, maybe there's arguments about how quality they are, but people love it, and they know that when they go to Burger King, they're gonna have a similar experience every single time that they go there, right? And I think it's sort of easier as a business owner to provide that consistent level of quality or service, but it's a little bit harder to make sure that your staff, the people that work for you, can also provide that level of quality, right? So you need to make sure that you have training in place to make sure that that happens, and monitoring as well. Um, all right, so that's the first strategy. Make sure you're delivering consistently on your quality and your reliability, and make sure your staff are as well. The second strategy, build relationships and not just sales. At the end of the day, you are selling to people, right? And people thrive on having good relationships, right? So it's not just about buy this as quick as you can and go, get out of here. Like give me my money and go, right? You want to talk to the person a little bit, try to understand how are their kids doing. Maybe they're studying to become something, right? To get another degree. What's going on there? So you can make sure that you follow up after the sale with calls or WhatsApp messages. You can celebrate customer milestones, right? Like I always like it when a bank or someone sends me a message and says, "Happy birthday!" I didn't even know you knew my birthday. Anniversary. If you see on LinkedIn or wherever that they got a big award or something, send them a message. Oh, congratulations on that. And then just in general, to be present in the community, right? If someone knows that you're the business owner of this business and they see that you're in the community or, I don't know, participating at church or, doing other things in the community, that's always a good thing as well. Um, I see a question. How do you recommend leverage testimonials or referrals from our existing customers without it feeling forced? Thanks, Rebecca. That is a fantastic question. Um, my first thought on this is, the best time to ask for a testimonial or a referral even is right after a customer's had a really great experience. And so right after they've bought that product that they love, right? Or right after they've experienced your service that they love, and you can see the smile on their face, right? And then it's, oh, if you have some time, would you mind, doing this, right? And sometimes, sorry about that. Sometimes customers will commit, right? They say, "Sure, I'd be happy to do that," and then they don't, right? Or you have to follow up with them. Don't take that personally, right? This is, people get busy, and you're gonna need to do this with several customers. The other thing you can do is try to automate it, right? Maybe in a automated quick reply on WhatsApp at the end of every, I don't know, purchase confirmation message that you send, you can put, if you have a minute, could you write me a few words, testimonial, right? Those tend to be the ways I would recommend doing it. The other thing is you make it fun, right? Whether it's on social media or another place, um, offer a discount, right? Or a free something for people, the first person or offer a chance to win for someone on social media for the first person that gives a referral on social media, right? Or that posts a testimonial on social media, right? So those are, I hope that helps, Rebecca. Those are some of the ideas that come to mind around it not feeling forced because of course, it can feel forced sometimes. Cool. Great stuff. All right then. Moving on to the next strategy, loyalty and referral programs. I don't see this a ton. Actually, I wish I would see it more. I think, business owners can really take advantage of this. You don't have to have some very complicated loyalty program where, people can log into an app to see how many points they got and, all of these things. It can be as simple as a punch card, right? You can print very simple punch cards. Every time someone comes into your business, you punch their card. And then once they've come in, the third time or the fifth time, they get a discount or a free something, right? And it's a very good way. You would be surprised how much people will come back just to get a punch on their card, not necessarily because they needed to buy from you, but because they want to get another punch on their card. A little, if you guys know what I'm talking about, the little like hole punches. And there's lots of different ways to do little loyalty programs like that. Um, and referral programs give a discount on their next purchase if they refer X number of customers to you, or just one even, right? Depending on the value of the purchase. So those are two really good strategies to use loyalty and referral programs. Then I would say, make sure you're leveraging simple tech tools, right? So WhatsApp for Business, I can't understate the value that you can get from just using WhatsApp for Business or just even regular WhatsApp, right? There's so much that you can do from, broadcasts to groups to statuses to, just even direct messages to your profile in there to they now have the where you can list your products and services. Um, so make sure that you're using tools like that. Make sure that you're logging customer purchases somewhere somehow, right? Whether it's in Oze or somewhere else. You can really find interesting stuff in there. If you notice that a particular customer always buys the same product from you, right? Then how can you make that next purchase easier for them? Maybe they want to buy it in bulk. Maybe, you have it ready set aside for them and give them a little more of a special experience. Make it as easy as possible for them to pay via whatever payment method, right? They want to pay you. So you can use tech tools to capture that kind of information. And then the last strategy here is after sales engagement. This is where I see a lot of business owners, um, they get busy or they just forget to do this, right? And it cannot be more important for getting repeat customers. Um, Ask for feedback, right? After a purchase, ask for feedback. What did you think about this product? How was my service this time? How can I do better? Um, and then make sure you're doing, even in the sales process, what we call consultative sales, right? You're not you're not selling to them. You're first trying to help them with whatever it is that they need help with. And then if your product or your service happens to be the best solution to help them with whatever that is, that's how you do it. So you're giving them little fashion tips or little recipes or little tidbits of knowledge throughout that process and afterwards. And then this one's really hard to do. But if you can, check in with them without selling to them, right? Just call them and say, hi, hey, how you doing? How's the family? And so on. Okay. All right. Those were the strategies. A lot of knowledge and a lot of things in there. Any questions or thoughts there?
Yeah, Dave, we have a question. Elikem wants to know at what point do you decide to start using discounts and referral awards as a new startup?
Hmm. Yeah, good question, Alcom. I I would say right away you could, right? I mean, you probably want to make a few sales first, right? But if you've been in business for a couple of months, right, and maybe sales are slow, right? You can right away. You got to be smart about it, right? Though you don't want to discount 50%, right? And people don't need a 50% discount usually, right? Do a 10% discount or a 15% discount, or 10 or 5% discount for a referral, right? And that those things can be very powerful growth tools as well, the discounts and the referrals. So as long as you're smart about it, I think after the first couple of months of being in business, it can be a powerful growth tool that you can use even as a new startup. Just don't be given 75% discounts or a discount that doesn't even cover the cost of the product itself or the cost to make the product or provide the service, if that makes sense. Other questions, thoughts? Okay. Let's
Hello,
keep going then. Oh
I have a
yeah, go
question.
ahead. Please, Patricia. Yes.
Yes, Patricia here, native Aleo. So, I want to find out if I want to do the loyalty um
Program.
package your program. Yes. So I already have a database of those who have been buying. Will I start
Great.
like a new purchases, or I would have to look at the history and see who has bought
Yeah.
and make their calculations.
hmm Yeah, yeah. Good question, Patricia. I would say you just start from the moment that you decide to start the program, right? You could, go back and look at, okay, who's purchased what over the last however. But I don't think generally customers are gonna, you might have a customer come in and say, "Oh, I've purchased 10 times from you already, and now you decide to start, shouldn't this count? Shouldn't?" And you could just, very politely say, we really appreciate all the times that you purchased from us in the past, but it's a new program that we're starting. So, here's a punch card or however you're doing it. And let's see if you can, get to the five purchases the quickest, right? And usually that's going to be fine. So I would recommend that you don't need to go back and search, all that historical data and do it. I think it's better to just, start from scratch. You could even do a little social media announcement about it. Um, hey everyone, we've launched our new loyalty program. From this day forward, you can collect X number of purchases, and then you get 50% off or 25%. I just said not to do the 50% off. You get 25% off your fourth purchase, right? So that's what I would say. Good question.
Thank you.
Welcome. Other questions?
Yeah, please, I have a question.
Yeah.
Please, with the creation of profile for the company, you mentioned that we
hmm
should create a profile for ideal customers, repeat customers, and
Ideal repeat customers.
um,
Yep.
we have my company. We have a subsidiary and also the main company. We have a home construction company and also a restaurant we will create here. How
Okay.
do I create um, a, a profile for these customers? Can I combine them or I just separate
Mm.
the phone construction and also the restaurant operation profiles?
Yeah. Yeah, good question, Rebecca. I would definitely separate them, right? You would have a different ideal repeat customer profile for the construction business and a different one for the restaurant. They may be completely different types of customers. But let me ask you this: is the restaurant business and the construction business associated in any way? Like, do you sell the construction business to people who come to the restaurant or anything like that?
Yes, we do that here. We do that
Okay.
here.
Great. Then what I would just recommend is, um, you know, have your two separate ideal repeat customer profiles, but then also know that there's going to be a segment that cross sells, right? So,
Okay.
what type of ideal repeat customer profile for the restaurant is more likely to also patronize the construction services, right? And vice
Um,
versa. What kind of ideal repeat customer profile for the construction business is likely to patronize the restaurant, right? And that way, you're sort of getting the best of both worlds. See if you can zone in on those that overlap, then you
yeah.
can get
Thank you very
you
much.
can get customers that will patronize both your businesses. Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Great. I'm realizing that saying ideal repeat customer profile is like a mouthful. I need to like shorten it or something.
Thank you.
Yes, was there another question? All right. Good, really good questions, everyone. Let's keep them coming, okay? I'll continue. Let's look at a couple of case studies. Um, so, these are sort of these aren't real pictures, they're just sort of for visual representation, right? But I do know of businesses who are doing this, right? So as an example, one good retention tactic. I know of a hair salon in Lagos that uses their WhatsApp status for promotions and for staying top of mind, right? Maybe just for your guys' knowledge, people, it's intuitive. I think everyone knows, right? But people use WhatsApp a ton, right? In Ghana, I think the stat is 63% of the population is on WhatsApp. It's like something like 20 million people are using WhatsApp, right? And in Nigeria, it's a little bit less than that. I think it was like 45%. But the population of Nigeria is that's like 51 million users, right? So the traffic and the eyeballs on WhatsApp is nuts. People do look at the statuses. I think they've changed it now to call it like updates or something, right? Um, or there's a status and then there's updates at the bottom now. Anything that you can put, like just try to be consistent with it, right? New promotion on the, it doesn't have to be promotion, right? New products, new product packaging. Come on back and see us. We've got the new loyalty program. Any kind of status, right? To help you stay top of mind. People will be scrolling through their statuses and say, "Let me click on this," and oh, it's been a while since I've, been to this hair salon. Let me do this, right? So that's one really good way. Another way is the grocery delivery service in Accra. I know of one that uses SMS messages, and you can do this on WhatsApp as well. And the example I put on the screen here is a Honda. Check your customer satisfaction, right? And you can make it super easy where, you just say, hope you enjoyed the purchase. Please rate us 1 to 5. And all you got to do is respond with a number, right? And that's not only good information for you, but it is a retention strategy, right? Because the customer will see that you actually care about providing good service for them, right? You're asking, all right? And you're asking, what can I do better? And that in itself gets them to come back. So thinking about, how can that purchase confirmation or, any of your messages check customer satisfaction as a retention tactic. And then we were just talking about this, so I won't go into too much detail, but some sort of loyalty, either stamp or punch card, right? You could have like a little stamp at the checkout counter, right? And every time someone buys, you put a little stamp, you fill one of those little circles, with the example here. Once they get to 10 purchases, you give them, I don't know, 25% off their next purchase. Or, if, the value of the product is not too much, you give them a free one, right? And people will come back just to get their card stamped. Yeah. Um, so those are a couple, specific tactics that you can use to keep your retention levels high. Okay. All right. Um, let's talk real quick about measuring retention. It's one thing to, try to do some of these retention strategies, but then if you're not measuring it to know, is it having an effect? Well, hopefully you can see it in your sales or profits, right? We remember the stat we talked about earlier. Even a 10% increase in retention can boost your profits by 25 to 95%. Right? Um, so when it comes to measuring retention, I would very much encourage you to just start simple, right? To retention can get very, very complex, especially in the software world where you have really complex charts, et cetera, et cetera. But really, all you need is a repeat purchase rate, right? What percentage of customers come back and buy again the second time? And if you can measure that on a monthly basis or on a quarterly basis, and experiment with some of these different tactics that we talked about today to see if they're improving the repeat purchase rate, you're going to be in a very good place. The other one is something that I'm sure you're all aware of, but maybe a little bit more complex to track. customer lifetime value, right? So if your retention is good, the customer lifetime value should go up, right? So the total amount or the total value, total average value, right, of all your customers, but the total the total value of all the purchases that customers have made from you in their lifetime, right? And you can, if your business has been around a long time, you can pick the last 2 years and measure it that way, right? You don't have to necessarily go back all the way to the beginning of time. Um, but that's also a really good thing to watch, as you're trying these retention strategies and see if it's improving. Now, just as a benchmark for you guys, because I know, one question you might be going through your mind is like, okay, great, I'll start tracking my repeat purchase rate. But what's a good rate, right? What's the benchmark? Um, so typically what I see in our context is a good repeat purchase rate is somewhere between 10 and 25%, right? So that should go to tell you, right, that not a lot of people are concentrating enough on retention. Right? And it depends a little bit by sector, type of business that you're doing. Is it online, is it in person, et cetera. But typically, if you have a 25% repurchase rate, that means 25 of your percent of your customers come back and buy at least one more time. That's a pretty good retention rate. Right now, of course, it can always go back, and everyone wants 100%, right? Um, but just for you guys, to try to understand like how do you compare it to other businesses, somewhere between 10 and 25% is pretty good, but you can always do better. And I would encourage you to do so. Okay. So that's a little bit about measuring retention. Um, Now we're kind of getting towards the end of the presentation, guys. Just sort of a recap. Yeah, find that ideal repeat customer, focus on acquiring and retaining more and more of those types of businesses, those types of customers. Leverage their trusted networks, their friends and family, social proof, the people that they look up to. Make sure that you're providing consistent quality products and services. Follow up with your customers even after they purchase and build relationships with them, and leverage simple tools to help you do this stuff. Don't overcomplicate it. So those are your key takeaways. I see a hand raised. So we'll just jump right into Q&A and any discussion. Let's see. I saw that Winnie, I think I saw a hand up.
Yes, please.
Yes,
If
my hand
that,
is up.
yes,
My hand
Aziz.
is
Oh,
up.
yep. Yes, go ahead.
Can I speak on?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Dave, for this. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me, please? All right. So thank you for the presentation. It's quite interesting and informative. Then my question is, for a small business owner who hasn't been working on customer retention, he's had a few sales in the past. All right. Is there a way to get back to the best way to get back to the old customers and find how to make them to start buying again? What do you suggest? People who have bought long
Yeah.
in the past and they were not followed up afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do we go
It's
about that?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And it's interesting and well, sort of in the software space, right? And our equation for retention is retention equals activation plus engagement plus resurrection, right? So what we're talking about here is resurrection, right? Customers who have bought from us way long in the past. How do we bring them back, right? In my experience, the best way to do this is some kind of news, right? And I would call it news or product update, right? Maybe you have um, well, it can either be related to your product or just your business in general, right? So maybe you've recently won an award or something. That would be a kind of a cool news to shoot out to everyone, let them know, right? Maybe you just added a new product line, right? Or Maybe you are offering a discount on a product, right? A promotion. Maybe you have a testimonial that you think is super powerful, right? This is all also a good thing to shoot out to all those old customers because if they see that so and so who they respect or a business, a customer like them in the testimonial really loves the product, right? Those are all good ways to help get some of those customers back. And then you just need to make sure that when they do come back and they purchase, you follow up that time, right? Don't make the same mistake again. Follow up, keep them engaged, and they'll keep coming back. So those are a few ideas to help you get some of those customers back. Hope that was helpful.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's helpful. Yeah.
You're welcome. There's a question in the chat from Patricia. Does Oze have a platform that we can use to keep track of this, and does it give us a report on the retention rate, or are there other platforms that you can recommend? Honestly, Patricia, it's something that I really wanted us to build out more in the app, but we haven't had a chance to do it. You can in the app, if you're recording your transactions and adding customer information, right? You can in the app filter all those transactions by a particular customer, or you could export that data to Excel and do some of the analysis and calculate the retention rate. So if you are adding customer details for every transaction that you record in Oze, you can do those calculations, and I'd be happy to help, any of you guys do those calculations based on that data. Um, I know a lot of small business owners that are just using um, either Excel or some combination of WhatsApp and Excel. They can, I've seen some businesses tag, there's the tags in WhatsApp for Business, repeat customer, right? So the first time that someone comes back, you have their WhatsApp information, you tag them as a repeat customer, and you know to, pay special attention to those customers or, use it to calculate the repeat purchase rate. Um, there are, of course, CRM platforms that calculate this kind of thing for you, but they tend to be a little bit on the pricier side. So I would sort of recommend not getting too complex with it to start, and then as you grow, then you can look at some of those kinds of platforms. But really like very simple, right? In an Excel file or even in a notebook, the name of the customer. Um, are they repeat customer or not? And then you take the total repeat customers divided by the total number of customers, and you've got your repeat customer rate, right? So very, very simple to start, calculate it, and then calculate it again in next month or next quarter. That's a really good question. Other questions? Comments? Want me to go back and talk about any of the strategies that we went over?
Hello.
Yes, Rebecca,
Um,
go ahead,
Please, I
please.
want to ask question concerning the communication and engagement when it comes to the social media and how to
Sure.
broadcast the. I want to find out how often um, should messaging customers be without us sounding annoying.
Yeah.
If you message the customers or you send them messages with regards to the product on board, it might sound annoying. So how often? And also, what kind of content or updates will the customers appreciate most after they have purchased? Would it be educational, promotional, or
Hmm.
entertainment? I want to find out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good, Rebecca. So, um, what we've found, right? And I think the studies are showing this is that you don't really start to get annoying. Let me first say this. It kind of depends on the type of product or service. So maybe, Rebecca, let me ask, what kind of business do you have?
With the pond construction, we sell the pond construction materials, and also when it comes to
Okay.
the restaurant operation, we prepare food, drinks,
Yeah.
beverages, and all those. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Great. So I would say you can stand to engage a little bit more on the restaurant side and a little bit less on the construction.
Mm.
But my rule of thumb is usually like for something like a restaurant business, not every day of the week, but you could message something daily and not be, customers still not get super annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't start out that way though. I would start out with maybe 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's usually enough to, stay top of mind for customers. And it can be all of the above, the different types of content, entertainment, promotion, updates, special for the restaurant, special on this meal today, right?
Okay.
Um, and actually, WhatsApp recently did a new release where for WhatsApp for business accounts, customers can go in and mark if they don't want to receive like broadcasts from you or certain messages. So the customer has a little bit more control now. Um, but yeah, I would start with seeing if you can do 3 times a week, and even if that's not feasible, 1 time a week is still pretty good, depending on how often your customers purchase from you.
Mm, okay. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
sure, sure. Yes, someone's asking about the slides. We will share the slides after the session as well.
If Patricia wants to know if you can put the formula in the chat, please.
Oh, sure. Yes,
But
I
we'll share
can.
the slide, so I don't know if the formula too.
Yeah, maybe I can also add it in the slides, and then it'll be in there for everyone else as well.
Yes.
Um, but if I just come back here, repeat purchase rate, what percent of customers buy again, right? So it's going to be your um, total
Hello,
number.
Dave.
Yes, go ahead. Yep.
Yes, I have a question, please.
Okay, go ahead.
But I want to ask what discount package is best for restaurant setups, please?
What kind of discount package is best for restaurants?
Yes.
Yeah. Um, this kind of depends on the type of what type of restaurant is it?
Okay, so we sell grilled catfish, grilled tilapia, and our local dishes, and also kind of continental dishes. Yeah.
Okay, okay, great. Um, repeat purchase rate. Just putting that calculation in there. So this is more of a trial and error thing, right? It can kind of depend on your customer base.
Okay.
Are you based in where are you based?
Okay, we are in Ghana, in the Ashanti
Ghana,
region. Yeah.
Ashanti region. Okay, great. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I would be too presumptuous to say that Ghanaians like free things. So you can do like buy one get one free. That's always a
Buy
good
one, get
one.
one free.
Yes, depending on the type of meal, right? Like you wouldn't want to give a full meal, right? But for like maybe your appetizers or a Kelly Welly or something like that maybe doesn't cost you as much, buy one
Okay.
get one free would be good. Um, then you can do like family discounts, right? So if you purchase, if you come in a group or a family, you buy over a certain amount, right? Then you get a discount. That's a good one that I've seen. Um, you can do like specific items on the menu that are a discount. Right, so I see that very often. Our new, I don't know, whatever the dish is, you get a discount percent. Really, it's
Okay.
like sort of a trial and error to see what increases your sales, right? So, because you only want to give a discount if your total sales bump increases, right? Because otherwise, you're just, you're giving up money. Um,
Okay.
so you want to try. I would try each of those things and see which one is increasing your total sales for the day or for the month,
Okay.
um, based on when you're not running the discount. That makes
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Cool. Cool. Great. Very good. the surprise in his voice when I said buy one get one free. Oh man, as a business owner, it's hard sometimes to give up some of that money, but if it works out in the math, then you're uh, then you're golden, right? A good discount or a good campaign really can increase the total number of sales. How do we calculate these metrics? Oh, okay. Patricia, let me just drop it again, the formula for the repeat purchase rate. So that the purchase rate, so that it's there for you. Oh, I'm having trouble copying it. Winnie, maybe you can just copy and paste what I put in there and add it to the chat again. Oh, yeah, she's seen it. Okay, great. Perfect. Oh, and Winnie's pasted. Other questions? Okay. Well, thanks everyone for all the questions. They were really good ones, and I always like kind of discussing the particular use cases, whether it's for the restaurant or the construction or any other kind of business that you have. Um, like I said, if you do have the data and you need some help calculating repeat purchase rate or anything else, feel free to get in touch with Winnie. She'll put you in touch with me. I'm happy to help. And make sure that you're focusing and focusing on that repeat customer profile and using some of these retention strategies going forward. Winnie, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dave. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It wasn't a long presentation, but it was short and insightful. As you can see, I appreciate everybody for asking your questions. We just want to take a few minutes to talk to you about what we do. So I'll hand over to Isaac. Isaac, if you can kindly just briefly share with everyone what Oze does and the services we offer for business owners across Africa.
Thank you very much, Winnie. Thanks everyone for joining me. Thank you, Dave, for the wonderful presentation. So I am here as an evangelist of Oze, and what I am here to do is to tell you that you can run your business like a pro with the Oze Business App, and we're always here to help you do that. Whether you're just starting your business or you're already thriving, Oze helps you to record sales and expenses, that's your transactions. You can send receipts and invoices with your app. You can also send reminders to debtors, people who are owing you. You know, debt recovery is one of the difficult things as part of our business operation routines. You can also extract cash flow reports and also follow up on payments you haven't closed, and also know how much your business is making or how much you are losing. In terms of new updates, the good news is that you can now create a pro forma invoice with the app. You can also automate your transactions with a new payments feature. So if you're a business owner and you want to go cashless, once you receive those payments alerts, you can activate them and then link them to transactions in the Oze app. So it means less manual work for you. You can also get access to business loans from the app. Depends on your commitments in the app. At least you have to stay in the app for 30 days, record 10 transactions by the time you are requesting or applying for the loan. So I'm also going to tell you that you can unlock smart insights with our AI-powered analytics feature. It means that once you need an analysis on your business, you go to analytics, you select the period within which you want to assess, and then you click on the AI coach, and then it helps you with insights or information that helps you run your business on data-driven decision. It's very simple. All you have to do is, if you're an existing user, go to the Play Store or App Store, click on updates, and make sure you get these new features. And if you're new, you still have to visit the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, type Oze Business App, and then you can download it. Once you download it, you have access to join our community, our WhatsApp community, and it's very interactive in there. So I'll encourage you to download the Oze app today and make sure you maximize your business with all the benefits the app has to give. As business owners, all I have to say is that once in a while, we have to use the scale analysis. If you've used a weighing scale before, you do that to check your weight, whether you are overweight, you're underweight, or you have a normal weight, right? So let's, from time to time, let's put our businesses on a scale and let's know whether we are making profits or losses. And you can't do that without recording transactions. So once again, I'd like to introduce the Oze app to you. Download it and make good use of it. If you need assistance, we're always available to help. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Isaac. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, once again for joining. We'll share the recording in our WhatsApp groups as well as the slides. I'll share that in the chat again in case you just joined and you missed. So don't worry, everybody will get to watch this back. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful week, and then we'll see you next month on our next workshop. Bye, everyone.